Welcome to Deep Root Connections, a place where earth, animals, nature, and spirit are all alive, intertwined, and communicating. I am just going to dive right in today. I'm so excited. I have a very, very special guest today, Emily Gemignani. I hope I said that right.
Got
I know I
it.
literally just preluded to make sure I did, and then I didn't. Anyways, she is an animal communicator, channel for spirit guides, space friends. Yay, we love that here. Trees, nature. She kind of does the whole thing, y'all. So she is a very special person to bring into this space, and I absolutely know that you will resonate with her. So before I let her introduce herself formally, we have a little treat today. If you have been following along, lost a ton of animals and family members over the last 6 months or so, one of whom is a horse of mine. He was 30 something years old, and he transitioned in January, the end of January. And so it's still kind of fresh. And when I made a social post on Instagram that I lost yet another one of my buddies, Emily so graciously said, "Well, I know you can communicate with your own animals, but let me know if you need a second person to dive in." And that gave me this idea to bring her on today to do a live animal communication session with me and Rooster to highlight what animal communication looks like in person, in a live setting, and also to talk about neutrality and why animal communicators hire animal communicators. So stay tuned to the end where we do a deep dive into an animal communication session where I will probably cry. So it's going to be great. Emily, thank you so, so much. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been so excited to come on and just chat with you. I feel so in alignment with everything I see you talk about and post, and it just feels really nice to connect with, these like-minded women that are exploring the wild west of all this stuff. So thank you for having me.
Yes, it's my honor and pleasure. So I have a few questions for you. The first one is, how did you get started in animal communication? Was this a gift or just a skill you've always had, or did you hone it? What's your process there?
So I won't give you the whole childhood backstory, but I was super intuitive as a kid. I didn't understand it then. I didn't know I had these deep relationship with trees and pine needles. And then you kind of start to realize that like nobody's like this. And you start to put your little filters on. And so now looking back, I can see some of those moments. My mom was a medium, so I grew up around that. And I grew up in Texas and we were like vegetarian and didn't go to church. And my mom's a medium. So I always knew I was different. It wasn't something that was really talked about. Like you would think, oh, you have a spiritual family, but like we didn't talk about it. But I just didn't have a lot of filters that I think a lot of people might come in having in their childhood. I definitely would have mediumship moments along the way, like that I didn't fully trust until now. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, like even if people were confirming, like, wow, how did you know that? It takes a lot to kind of truly trust it. And I had a pretty hard gap of some years that I lost all of it. And then I found Alex, Pet Talk with Alex, and I took her course on animal communication. I didn't know that it was going to open up the can of worms of like the woo and the spiritual. I've just always been really, really deeply connected with animals. So I'm like, that'd be cool if I could do that. And then I was like, oh, and it changed my entire life. And it was this 8-week course. And I did that maybe like 2.5 years ago now. So I've been on this whole dive of connecting to everything now. I feel like after that. And yeah, so I do my paid sessions or my animal communication sessions. That's what I do like for work. And then I do lots of playtime exploring all the other stuff.
Yeah, I love that. So, a quick question. It's really amazing that you grew up in a spiritually tuned in family because I know so many people just are not. It's interesting that you never spoke about it. So, just a little bit of my background too is I have a really tuned in family, but they have no idea. they're just really intuitive. Some of them can see auras or spirits that need help crossing over, and they're just like, oh, that's like nobody has ever talked about it. And so here comes Kara. She's like, I'm going to be an animal communicator. And then everybody is like, oh, yeah, well, I can see auras. And oh, yeah, I see dead people. I'm like, I'm sorry, what now?
Oh, so
Well,
they all like kind of spoke about it after you did first?
yes, isn't that insane?
Wow, that's
Yes.
really cool.
It's so weird how family dynamics work sometimes. But it also makes me wonder for your skills, did you find that communicating with animals in spirit came easier for you, or those in physical, or did it matter?
I don't think it's ever really mattered. It's always felt quite the same to me, honestly. And I've always been able to stay pretty emotionally neutral, which I think helps with that. I've had to learn to get my emotions back more than anything.
Oh,
So I mean, I'm good. It's all good there now. But like, yeah, I feel like that can be some people's maybe barrier with it, or like reincarnation that I have no filters or like disconnect from that. So yeah, it feels really similar to me. Definitely now that I've been doing it for a while, the biggest difference that I can feel, like connecting doesn't feel different, but the information I receive, once they're on the other side, it's going to be more abstract. It's going to be more ethereal. It's going to be more symbolic. It's going to be these big, wonderful messages where an animal and body might, still be talking about what he's eating for lunch, might be talking about the walk or the jacket. It's a little more like earthly things that might come up. Not always, but so it feels a little different the way it comes through.
oh, that's so interesting. I find the same thing.
Do you?
Actually, part of my problem is even with those in physical, they're like, we're going to talk about all the big picture things. I'm like, no, I need to actually know how you like your food. So it's funny. It's like I have to rein them back down into real physical body stuff. And it's just, I love how other people communicate with animals. And I think that's something that is not highlighted enough in the world is that true soul essence of the animal that is bigger picture, that's super etheric and definitely blows open your your woo-woo box, right? There's
Yeah.
so much that they can introduce you to. What would you say has been the most surprising about that? The bigger picture, what the animals in spirit bring forward.
They have taught me so much, and I will always, no matter I feel like what different kind of journeys I go into, I always want to keep my animal communication because they are constantly showing me new things. They are constantly teaching me. One, the most recent one that kind of like hit a barrier for me, which I hadn't hit yet in all this, I'm kind of like, have I lost my mind? Was there was a cat that sent me, we were communicating about like I was translating what his name looked like into a symbol. So I drew it out for this. It was another animal communicator when we're talking about, working with each other. She's like, I can't get this exact symbol and I'm pretty visual. So I was like, okay, I got you. Let me see. So I tune in, and then later, I was told that I needed to connect with him before going to sleep. So I tune back in. I'm like, hey, I'm told that you're supposed to send me symbols before I go to bed tonight. Long story short, he activated a light language in me from sending me those symbols. And it was a whole journey. Like I had major vertigo for days, and I'm like, I'm not okay. What's going on? And then I had the knowingness one night going to bed. I played some frequency music that was like third eye, whatever the numbers are. And I felt my whole team just plunk around me. And it felt like I was on like a surgery gurney. And I felt them do, 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 like literally doing surgery on me. And Michael is my main man. I always feel safe. I'm like, Michael, am I good? So I was asking him, I'm like, am I okay right now? He's like, you're good. And I woke up the next morning. And I felt like an actual lantern inside my chest, this golden light that was just like, and then like this light language came out, and I'm like, what is going on? So that was just like one story of one connection with one animal. And when you do this all week long, they're talking about dreams and how you can work with them in dreams and My understanding of death has totally shifted. It still is hard. It's still sad. You still miss their physical form. Um, but yeah, there's just a trusting in how much is going on the other side. They have all these jobs that they tell me they do, and which I could go on forever about that. But yeah, I've learned endless amount from chatting with them.
Yes. Oh my goodness, all the rabbit holes I really want to dive down. But we have to stay on topic today. I do actually have one quick question about the light language. Was that something that was recent for you, or did that happen pretty quickly after you started practicing with them?
That was more recent. That was maybe the end of last year, so maybe 4 months ago. I
Oh,
could be a
around
little.
October, maybe? Just,
Yeah, maybe.
uh-huh. Okay. I have to just dive in here real fast. That's when it happened to me too.
Really? Oh, I have
Yes.
goosebumps.
I know. Literally, this is something that I'm working on. We're gonna just, sorry, everybody listening, we're going off on a small tangent.
Or
But this is what tapping into animals really does. It like calibrates you and amplifies you in ways you don't even know. And so, quick story here is in October, I was working on my tree communication program and I was having fire ceremonies and I was really tapping into the land. And all of a sudden, I was like, something just released out of my throat. And I know I've had massive blocks there like my entire life, and it literally just like clink gone. And I was like, holy moly. And it was just like blah. All of these weird things started happening, and I was saying weird things, and then the elves came in. This is an animal communication right now, but the elves started coming in and they were like, yeah, you're just speaking our language now. And I was like, what? Did I go crazy? And I had that moment of, I'm pretty sure like I've taken this too far. Like I gotta rein myself back in,
me too.
self-evaluate and check because and this is like the animal communication component is like the animals open you up in ways that you don't even know. They lead you to your soul path, your mission, your magic. And this is the shit that just fires me up. It's like the gateway. So that's really amazing. You're doing light language. Welcome to the club.
I haven't, and it's interesting because I feel like I'm still definitely learning. Like for me, if it's like in my chest, it feels chanty, and if it's up higher, it feels like singier. And what I've recently that's kind of come through, it feels like this kind of like body movement, like language. And I love working out. I love moving my body. So that's really like easy. Like I have no issue with I have the throat blocks too, so which I'm working on. That one feels a little more like pulling teeth, but if I add the body movement to it, then it's like really fluid.
I find that super fascinating. We could talk about this all day. I don't want to pause
Re-listen.
this. I really don't want to pause this conversation. This is a topic for another day because we have ETs to talk about and all the things. But let's let's go back to the animals in spirit and in physical. They really do open you up to so many different things. And going back to my initial thought is there are not very many animal communicators out there that shine a light on this component. Like, yes, the physical aspects, the afterlife, evidential information, but there's this whole other part of them that I think, personal opinion, needs to be talked about more and more and more, especially as the earth ascends and the people wake up and then you talk light language and you have no idea why or where, right? Sanity check. Um, Anyways, so let's backtrack. Seriously, I knew this was going to happen the moment we hopped onto this call. It's just so many things to talk about. Um, there was, let me see. Okay, let's go back to how information comes in for you. Do you find that it is kind of just like all-encompassing? Are you stronger in one capacity?
So I definitely started off being really kinesthetic. So I would like just feel things in my body. And so when I was in class and everybody was like getting these words and pictures, I'm like, I'm not getting like as much clarity. I'm like, I felt sad, or like I do body scans for lots of my clients, and I'll literally, if they have something in their armpit that was hurt, like my armpit will light up. And then I'm like, okay, hey, can you tell me some more words around what's going on? Sometimes I'll literally feel like, okay, my knee's super achy, or it feels like a knife pain, or sometimes I have to tell them to dial it down. There was one that I was like, whoa, thank you for that information. Can we like do a one instead of 11? So um, yeah, definitely that's where it started for me. And then my visuals kicked in, which is pretty heavily where I'm at now. Using my mind's eye, I read a lot of books, and I always have. And I'm always like telling my husband, like, I read so many books, and I'm so good at creating this story, like visually in my mind, that it's like it's really helped me now. I feel like that a lot goes on like that. I'll hear some things every once in a while. Sometimes I'll get a smell. Sometimes a taste. They've sent me like salmon dog kibbles. I'm like, whoa, okay, that was thank you. Don't eat that. So pretty visual for me. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting how it's like you start with one and then the next one kind of activates and then the next one activates. And do you have any tips for people just starting out on how to kind of trust what they're getting and feeling into the information?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like one component of that is learning how information comes through for you individually rather than observing how it comes through for other people, because it's really, really like the subtleties of it. I always say, and I actually just taught my 9-year-old, we like fully sat down and I was like, this is a full process of animal communication. And she got it. It was amazing. We got the same response from my little dog Rhino. But there's this element of really settling your mind, and you can think of it as the black space, the white space, and just really turning that conscious mind off that's chittering or that's looking for a response and sitting in the blankness. And then the second something comes through, it's going to be quick, it's going to be immediate, and it's not going to be like mulling over multiple options. It's like if you can stay in the blank space and then it just zips into you. And then noticing which of your five senses it wants to zip in through, and then leaning into that, like, okay, if I'm just feeling something in my body, there's probably information there. I've mentored somebody who was very, very kinesthetic and emotionally based. And we talked about creating this little arch doorway that when you feel an emotion, suck into that emotion and then open this doorway. And what's that emotion telling you? You know, you can take it layer by layer and kind of follow the pathway that works for you. Animal communication is great when it comes to getting feedback that can be accurate, because I think practice and getting feedback is really, really, really how you start to trust it. Um, you practice with somebody's animal that you don't know and you won't know the answer to. And then if you get an answer that you have no way of knowing, it's such a real experience. And then you do it again and again, you're like, okay, there's something here. Like, I can't be doing this. So giving yourself those moments of like true, real validation are really important in the beginning, I feel like.
I completely agree. That was the only way that I could build my intuitive senses is I need verification that this is real. And the animals
Totally,
are the
that
best way
proof.
to do it. I mean, you can literally get real life feedback instantaneously. And I love that you're teaching your 9-year-old this. I have a 9-year-old too, and the other day we had a chicken that was lost. And I was like, well, we have to go find her. And he was like, well, I just shut my eyes and I saw her in the barn. And then we went and there she was. And I was like, you just did it. And I didn't say anything. But I was like, you did it. Oh my God. And I just teach him intuition. Look how excited I am. I'm flushing.
I'm excited for you.
But
It's such a
it's
big
like, yes,
moment.
yes, yes. It's just so exciting because I was like, I actually can't find her. And I'm not clear in the mind because she's mine and she's old and I think she might be dead. I really don't know right now.
Neutrality.
I know. Yay. Neutrality. Let's bring that back to the actual topic of today.
That was a good loop around.
That was a good loop around. Neutrality. Okay, so communicating with our own animals. And I know you have a dog, Merlin, right?
Yes.
Do you find that you have a hard time connecting in with Merlin?
So it's definitely different when you're talking with your own pets for lots of different reasons. And when you're first starting out, I always suggest doing it with not your own pet, because honestly, you're speaking with them on so many varying levels all day long and you're not even realizing it. So there's all these, you're getting the information. It's not going to feel as like stark, like wham. And you already know kind of all the answers because you're so intuitively in tune with them. It's it's harder to get like the feedback because you're really doing it all day long. It doesn't feel as like on and off, open and closing a door.
Mhm. Yeah, I completely agree. The emotional entanglement, the energetic entanglement, that's something that I stress with my students too. I'm like, don't practice with your own animals right away because it will be really hard for you to connect in because you already are.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes to neutrality and the afterlife, death and dying process, health and wellness issues. It's like we care so much about our own animals even as professionals, it's like I can't actually be clear because I'm tripping over my own self. I don't know if they want assistance transitioning. I don't know if they are wanting X, Y, and Z for their food or how they're actually feeling physically. And so that's why, hello, Emily, you're hired, right? Because even though I can connect in with an animal in spirit, like my emotions will immediately come and dampen my mood, take my frequency down, or if they even come into my space and I feel them and I'm not ready to receive that yet, it's like immediate blocked off because I'm still grieving and it's hard for me to hold it. So to have a neutral party who is not emotionally attached or entangled can bring in their energy, hold that space, and kind of keep a buffer. And where I don't have to try to figure out what is mine, what is not mine, or, ooh, am I going to touch their energy and have a total breakdown, right? I mean, that's kind of how it works for me sometimes, sometimes in the afterlife, especially. I have a lot of old animals, the death and dying process. I text my good friend, I'm like, Melinda, I have a chicken, like status check, please. I think I got it, but just double check me here. Or I can't find my rabbit again today. Is he fine? He just free ranges, and if I don't see him for so long, I'm like, are you good?
Where are you?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any extra thoughts you have about just neutrality in general as an animal communicator and how to approach that?
Yeah, a good example that I like to use to help with like the understanding around it is like when you come into a session, you have to be super neutral. Because imagine if you just were like driving home and you had some major road rage and you're feeling angry in your body. You sit down and you connect with a dog and you're like, oh, this dog feels really angry. Well, it's probably your leftover anger. So you really have to come in and be a blank slate. When I think of channeling, whether I'm channeling an animal or a tree or a being or whatever, like I kind of try and just be as, I hate to use the word empty, but like as neutral and as stepped back as possible because then I'm just literally a clear vessel for information to come through and I'm not adding anything in there.
Yep, yep. Being emotionally charged, whether it is per situation, per whatever the animal's moving through or what you're moving through makes a huge difference. And I think this is a really important topic to talk about just in general with all kind of channeling. And I love that you brought in the trees here because like as a nature communicator and teacher, a lot of the people that come into my world are extremely sensitive to the plants, the earth, the destruction, the pollution. And I can kind of get in my own way here too, where I'm like, oh, look at all the pollution, or oh, they're deforesting this area again, or they're cutting down these trees. But to really truly bring forward the information for the highest good, it's like I can't do that. I have to turn my emotions off, and I love that. Like push all your stuff aside, be as neutral as possible. Some of the information that comes through is not comfortable for most people to receive. And that's where it gets really hard as a clear channel because you're like, ooh, that one's not going to be received well, but that's what's coming through in the most pure form. And I get this question a lot since we're talking about like kind of contentious topics or topics that can cause really deep feelings. Feel free to answer this or bypass this. This is a your call, but I get a lot of people asking me like, how do animals feel about being eaten? And even plants getting harvested and cut down and consumed, but we'll stay in the animal communication zone. So that's something that I get a lot. And I have my own version of response for that, which I will share. But if you want to share, please do. And if not, I totally get it.
Sure, I definitely have my own opinion on it. And I don't eat meat, so I never have my whole life. Again, I was the weirdo in Texas as a kid. So that one I've put less like focus on, but even with the plants and vegetables, like they're full beings, and I think it applies to both. is literally it's all about intention. Like I think the intention you set around it, if you're saying thank you to this plant or animal that you're consuming, because that is part of being in this physical realm, that is a cycle. However, you're nourishing your body, if you're honoring it and saying thank you, and there's like blessing there, then it's okay. Even the fruits and the veggies before I pull them, like I have one fig tree and I will kind of tell them like, hey, pull back whatever energy, life force you don't want me to take. And then my fig tree is always like, I'm gonna leave it with you. Like a little gifty. So it's really just about, I think, fully seeing them for who they are fully and appreciating them and having gratitude and not just blindly going through it is my perspective. I don't think there's any correct diet. I think it's how you approach it.
Hmm. I completely agree. And most people in this community are sensitive enough and acknowledge, like, if they do eat meat or animal products, like, they're conscientious that they're eating what was an animal, right? Part of the animal. It's just, I find that the animals that understand their role and the people consuming them are appreciative, especially. So I live in a place where a lot of people homestead and they have animals that they care for and eat. And I can't live near these people because my heart, I can't do it. But one of my good friends does this, and every year I'm like, I need to talk to your animals. Like, I just need to see what they have to say. And this challenges my neutrality because I'm like, but my feelings get hurt, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of my neutrality practices. And a lot of the animals around here are just like, I mean, we kind of get it. This is our role. It's fine if they're well cared for. They really appreciate that. Sometimes we run into one animal where they're like, I want to be a pet. And the beautiful part with that is like most people that I work with, even if they did breed or raise this animal to be consumed, they're always like, we're going to actually adopt this one out because it doesn't make sense. And so the ones that want to go to homes or live a natural life, like they always end up getting placed in homes, which is really fun. But yeah, it's a hard topic. And I know that a lot of animal communicators approach it different ways. It's just one of those topics that are questions that come into my space a lot, and I like to get people's perspectives. So thank you for being brave to answer that one. I know that one's not always easy.
Yeah, and I like the point you made too about like those questions can be hard because you can't lump all animals together. Like every animal is its own individual being. And so you can't blanket statement it. I mean, we are because we're just kind of tapping on the subject. So thank you for adding that too. Like it's really about the specific animal for sure and what their opinion is.
Yep, and their current circumstances. It's very similar to trees. It's like they are their unique being. We have to
Yeah.
ask them independently.
Yes.
So, yeah, again, it's such a big topic, but like as an animal communicator, ethically, I think it's important to know your neutrality boundaries. And I know I edge on that one, which is why when people say, "Well, you should talk to the mass-produced animals," I'm like, I can't because I literally can't. I'm not neutral. And I think it's unethical to bring those messages forward. And so I just think that that's important to know for anybody that wants to dive into animal communication that, like, if you are emotionally triggered by something, look in that direction and do some inner healing around it, and ask the animals and learn through an unbiased lens if possible.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, do you have like animal communicators, do you have a little more hard time around like the afterlife or the near death um, conversations? And honestly, I kind of feel like that's become my specialty, which feels like a weird specialty. But when I came into choosing to do this for work, it was because I was in my course and I lost my dog and I had them connect before and after, and it changed my life. It absolutely changed my experience because I had lost one more before. I had three of them, and I was devastated for 8 months and I couldn't function. And with my second, I was like, I see you. I understand. It changed the whole experience. And so now a lot of people come to me. They come to me at the end game organizing, getting all our wish lists, getting everything how everybody wants it to be, and then they cross, and then I reconnect after. And it becomes more of a beautiful healing experience than just sad and horrible.
Oh, I love that. That is my exact journey. Oh, that's so interesting. When I was practicing animal communication, just barely dipping my toes in, I had two back-to-back animals die on me. But I could communicate with them just enough where I was like, I know what you want. I'm not second guessing this, but I am kind of, but I'm not, right? Like in that, I don't know if I trust myself zone. And the neutrality component, like, and I didn't have any friends or anybody I could talk to at that point, but it made a difference. Like the pre-transition space is absolutely sacred. And then the post-trans space is where so much healing can occur. And that's what pushed me to go public was like, if I can feel okay after my animals die, like somebody else can benefit from this.
Yeah, that's
So,
when it feels like a mission, then you're like,
yeah.
I know how much that helped me and these animals. And I was like, I need to do this for other people, is what it felt like too. That's funny.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's, well, and a lot of people, client base wise, like that's their entry point is they lose an animal and they touch such intense grief that they don't understand it, that they're looking for answers. And then they find a legit animal communicator and they're like, oh, it's just like that moment of relief. Like my animal is okay. It's fine. It's going to be okay. It's such a
Yeah.
beautiful moment. So, thank you for offering that to the world. I know that the afterlife and transition phase can be really hard, especially when you're holding space for grieving people and it's a hard spot to be in as a professional. So I just want to bow down to you and say thank you for doing that.
You're gonna make me cry. Thank you. Nobody's actually ever said that before, and I do give a lot of output of energy to facilitate that. So thank you.
I see you, my friend. I see you. I actually almost quit because all of my first year of sessions were afterlife sessions and in transition, and it was just so much for me that I was like, I actually can't do this anymore emotionally. So I pulled myself away for a while to reevaluate. So keep going. We need people like you. It's so important.
Thank you.
Uh, um, gosh, I just want to make sure we have enough time for the live. Let's do that. So we're going to switch gears here, and if we have time after the live conversation with my horse Rooster, we'll dive into whatever comes up, and then we'll close out. But okay, thank you for the wonderful conversation preluding
Yes.
this. Loved
Thank
it.
you.
And so for everybody out there, I have my horse Rooster. Emily's going to tune in, bring forward some messages, and I gave her just a short list of maybe 5 questions that I find are the most commonly asked for animals in the afterlife. And Emily, since this is also your niche, feel free to ask some of the more common ones that you get just to give some comfort or a highlight to people that have been in this space or are moving in this space. So from my horse's perspective.
Yeah. Okay. I might add, like, what are some signs you leave? I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of my clients, that
That's a good one.
always means a lot to them because then if they're like, oh, that just happened, or, sometimes that one can be fun.
Yeah. Okay. So I am going to remove myself from the lead and let you guide the process as if I am your formal official client.
Okay. So I'll just explain what my unique process is, and I will pull up Rooster's photo on my phone, and that's how I kind of connect on the right line. I tend to either close my eyes or I trance out at my wall a little bit. So, um, if you have any questions that you want to interject with, and I'm kind of in the zone, just pop in. I always tell people like, interrupt me. I want to make sure that you're kind of steering the ship on where you want this to go, and it's kind of flipping from trance off and on. So yeah, just interject if something comes up. Okay, let me just ground for 1 second and tune in. Oh, he's already here. He's like, you're fine, you're good. Hi, Brewster. Normally, I'll kind of introduce myself and just say, I'm Emily. I'm here to be a bridge of communication between you and mom or dad. Rooster knows the drill, but just for everybody else's sake to know how we kind of introduce. And then I always let them have the floor first because as I would when communicating with a human, you want to build a little rapport and trust. So, Rooster Man, I have a list of questions for us, but I want to give you a chance first if you have something to say. He's saying, I'm so excited that I was chosen to be the one to do this with, in reference to like you having lost more than one recently. So he's saying, thank you for it being him. We're so excited that you wanted to come through. I felt you strongly early today, too. He's saying, I'm still really big. And he's saying, as in personality wise, like I'm still really big. Did he have a big personality in life?
He had a big energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to bring forward? I have a few questions for you. The visual I'm getting and kind of hearing is like him stomping his feet, kind of like specifically stomping his feet. So I'm trying to ask to get a little more context around it. Oh, it's almost like do you ever hear like his hoofs when he's not there now that he's crossed? It's almost like do you hear him still sometimes?
Yes, I always hear like shuffling. It's not stomping, but it's like old man shuffles.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. His feet movement noise,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's saying, so that would be like how I was going to ask for signs. That's something that he's bringing up right off the bat. But they always want to let us know like when they're there, and that's definitely him saying like, I'm here strongly when you hear the shuffle. Anything else you want to bring forward first? He's kind of like, no, no, no. Okay, go ahead. You can ask your questions now.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
Ruth.
totally him. He's like, you just tell me what to do.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, okay, go
Yeah.
ahead. Um, okay, so our first question is what happened when you died? Are you asking more just like what his transition
hmm Yeah,
felt like?
not physically. We don't
Okay.
need that. Just like spiritually what happened.
Okay. Let me go back to, are you comfortable talking about this? He goes, yes, that's why I'm here to um, be open about this subject. Okay, thank you. Interesting. So what I'm seeing is like this kind of funnel vortexy shape kind of swirling above his body. Have you crossed at this point? He goes, that was before he was actually out of body. There was this big swirling vortex of energy. Do you have any context around what that was? He's saying, I have a big energy and that there was a big shift. Um, what's the word? It was like the atmosphere needed this extra assistance to be able to shift his big energy in like the best, most effortless way. So there was this big kind of vortex that was helping that shift. And then he's showing like kind of his soul going out. It's like through this vortex. And the way transition presents to me, and he's showing me the same way, I see it as a bunch of, is that horizontal lines going up? And it's kind of these different, I don't want to use the word dimensions, but different kind of levels and phases that they go through. And so I can observe like at what speed they go. And so it's like he went through the funnel, say here's the top. He gets about three-fourths of the way, and I see him looking back. And he had a moment of reflection. It's really touching me right now. He had a moment of reflection and he said, I learned a big lesson right then. Do you want to share the lesson? Self-acceptance and almost letting go. Can you give me more context around letting go? Letting go of expectations of how things should look and understanding that they all happen exactly the way they need to. And it's all like in this beautiful, perfect alignment. Yeah, so a lot of acceptance and like self-love that came from that. And then I see him having that moment and then like pew, like rocket shipping up what I'm calling like fully transitioned. Um, and then he's like on this other side, and then I see his energy just go and like get really bright and expansive and huge. Yeah, he's also showing like he had team and guides and support all the way. Interesting. This came through one other time too, is like the different layers. Sometimes there's different guides in the different layers. Um, so it's almost like as he's going up, there's this whole gathering of everybody of these different energies and levels, like supporting and guiding and like honoring. So he's showing me all the different layers of guides. And then once he's up and through to the top, there's one specific that feels important that I'm trying to, I can like feel them. I'm not totally getting a visual. It feels feminine for sure. Then there's another male energy too that feels important that's coming forward, but potentially another horse. The male could perhaps be a horse.
That would
Is the
make
male a
sense.
horse?
That would make sense, yeah.
Okay. The female feels almost more human-like, like possibly past life human connection there.
Yeah, that could be a lot of people or other guides or ancestors.
Yeah. Okay. I know it's hard to get the exacts of it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you felt really important up there that were like at the front of the line, if you will. It's more like a circle around him, and these two have like stepped
Mhm.
forward from the circle. I see them having a moment of like bowing their heads to each other, like connecting foreheads.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
on point. I should send you a
Beautiful.
picture. So he, when it comes to the other male horse, he lived with Foolish. This guy right here, actually.
Oh,
Um, they were pasture mates for a long time, and they would do like the horse nose thing, and they would put their heads together, and
mm,
they were very, very close. So, yay.
and not a
Made me so
surprise
happy.
that you're greeted up there.
Yeah.
Oh, Foolish is just being like, I'm good too.
Yeah. We know. This
I'm
isn't
good
your light, buddy. I love you.
too. Yeah, it says I'm good too.
He's a good boy.
Yeah. Yeah, Rooster's just being like, so that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like a to the point, like, I'll show you and then we're done. Like, next. That's
Yeah,
totally his personality.
he put
So
a pin
this
in that. He's like, okay.
yeah, we're done. And so I
Yeah.
actually want to do you want me to give you a little bit of feedback or
Sure.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. So the
Always fun.
vortex that you mentioned, I felt that. I
I
actually
did
felt
too.
that. So I felt like this whole struggle, and I was like, he's really locked into his body still. And sometimes, like, they're not when they're transitioning, they're already
Yeah.
kind of phasing out. Well, he wasn't. And I was like, this is like, he's really locked in still. And then I felt that. I felt like this huge energy push, maybe not vortex like, but it was like, whew. And then the trees, like, I don't know if you watched that video about the trees, like, sending that pulse up. I have three guardian trees around here that witnessed the whole thing. And when he released, the trees were like, and like pushed his energy up with him. So that is so on point. Like he needed an extra boost because he's so big, he's so powerful, and he was really locked in. And so all of that makes so much sense. And I'm gonna cry because it's amazing. And how do you make this up, right? It's just
I
like,
know. And that's sometimes it just feels so good to have like the confirmation of like what I felt was true. And like I really was tuned in. When it's your own animal, it's so hard to have discernment that like getting that confirmation just can be really helpful because it's so emotional. Cool. That's
Yeah,
cool to hear.
that is really cool. And I love the moment that he looked back that you mentioned, where he had his lesson of like self-acceptance and things are going to be the way that they're going to be. Because he always was the one that liked to have control of the situation. He was a really gentle horse, but he was opinionated, like, this is what we're going to do. And I'm set in my ways. And so kind of just letting go and being go with the flow makes a lot of sense for something that would be a lesson for him, especially at the dying part, because he was not willing to let go. And I was like, I need you to, buddy. Like we had conversations for a week. I was like, I need, like, you're not trying to escape your body yet. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Like, are we good?
Yeah. Like,
So
what do we need? Yeah.
yeah, so that I think that's really interesting. And the layers and the guides. I see that all the time with animals. They just whoop, straight up.
Yeah, the first time I saw this was the one animal that when I connected in, they hadn't like fully made it over the other side. And I was kind of like, oh snap, I've never had this before. And I'm on a live call with somebody. So I'm like, team help. So like my guides all came in and Michael, I just am observing. Michael came in. He pulled this like big, what I want to call like parasitic or when I view dense energy, but it was like a parasite of this animal's own negative emotions. It wasn't some external thing. Like that's what I call a parasite. And I saw Michael like douche rip this thing out, and then this animal went and like all the way up and out, and I was like, whoa. That was
Yeah,
wild. And then we could have the whole conversation. Like this animal didn't want to talk to me. This animal wouldn't look at me. So I like held space. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to connect. I just kind of observed. And then that one thing is what we needed to be able to go.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense. I've had similar things
Okay.
with they go into the afterlife and I see them in a healing garden space where it's like they don't formally go all the way cross over, but they're like healing in this garden space and all of the traumas or whatever it is that they're harboring still get healed and released. And then when they're whole again, then they get
Cool.
transitioned over.
Yeah, and it was pretty recent. So I think I like popped on the line when there was still that
Hmm.
solid amount of self reflection and healing going on. And of
Yeah.
all the hundreds and hundreds of sessions I've had, this was one. So I'm not trying to like instill fear in anybody by
Yes.
any means. Like it was very much an anomaly and a learning experience, and it was very easily shifted and transitioned. And like you said, I'm sure there would have been, these animals have guides there too. It was just being worked on. I happened to be observing this big, quick punch moment to make it
Yep.
happen.
Yep. And that happens. And that's
Yeah.
part of the observer. Like sometimes we're the observers of the healing, and then it's fine. That's your role. We can talk about this all day. Let's keep going with Rooster.
Okay. Okay, bud, let me tune back in one more second. So I feel like we kind of got the where are you now and who are you with? I can ask more like his job maybe now, and like his soul mission, soul contract with you. Let me tune back in real quick. He's like, I'm right here. I know you are. Okay, we have a few more questions, wondering if maybe we could talk about like your, is it soul? Yeah, let's do soul contract. What was your soul contract with Kara here, with mom? What I'm seeing right off the bat is just this visual that's abstract, so I'll have to get more information around. But I'm seeing you, I'm seeing him, and I'm seeing like a triangle connected, and then there's a thing here. So I'm just gonna ask like, what's the thing up there? Can you give me some more words or understanding about that connection point? Part of it is very much about like your journey and evolution, and him being there and shifting as you're shifting, and him kind of being like his big energy that he has, like he could intentionally kind of like shift his consciousness maybe, or like shift his frequency, or like what you could have access to almost. And it was like as you shifted, he was shifting too. Is that making sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Okay. That one came through kind of abstract, so I want to make
Mhm.
sure. Is there any more like specifics that I can have understanding around? Also, also too, he's like, we're very similar, and he gave me this like headstrongness,
Yes.
and he kind of did like a forehead bonk, like
Yeah.
we're very similar head bonk. Just like he goes very strong of mind is how he wants to say it. We're very strong of mind. We're very strong in like how we think. Um, there's like not a stubbornness or restrictiveness, but like seeing how things should go or seeing how things should play out. And then like sometimes there's surprises and it's kind of like, ah, you know. Um, Oh, he's just saying the words like, I was a good mirror in that regard. He was a good mirror for you around. Um, it's coming through as just staying on the line, staying in the lane. He was a good mirror for showing staying in the lane.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could see that. Or like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we both, like I mentioned earlier, like we're set in our ways. This is how things are supposed to look and be. This is the outcome, and this is what I think it should look like. And when it wasn't, I was like, oh shoot. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go back on my line. So we both,
Yeah.
and that's actually why we headbutted a lot. We didn't headbutt. We loved each other dearly, but our relationship was strained because he was an old cowboy horse. Like he was a working horse. And I'm like, I love you. You're my pet because he was retired. And I was like, I'm gonna pamper you and love you. And he didn't like that. And he's like, this is my life. This is how I work. This is how I expect my care to be. And I was like, but this is what the reality is, right? That's
Yeah.
not how we
Okay.
work on my farm. So
Yes.
we're literally
Okay.
paralleling each other of like, this is how I want it to be. And he's like, I don't need you to pet me or brush me or just like let me in to graze. Like, that's it. When I want to, you let me in. When I want out, you let me out. And that's our relationship. And I'm like, that's not good enough. So that was our relationship. And it
Um,
makes so much sense that he was a mirror for me on that regard because I was like, how come you don't love me? Like, and he was like, I do. I'm like, I know you do, but this is complicated and it shouldn't be as hard as it is.
yeah. Interesting. What pinged really hard with that comment is our interpretation of the way somebody else is behaving, how you're like, oh, he doesn't love me, but it's like that's just us interpreting somebody else's behavior. And so he was also showing like not creating our own narrative around other people's behavior. And yeah, and that shift.
Yes, he was a good teacher for me, for sure.
Cool.
And we were both very headstrong about the way we thought it should be.
Oh, he's laughing about it now. He's having some humor on that.
Yes, he thinks I'm ridiculous sometimes.
He's using the word like fluffy and frilly. He was like, there's a lot of like frilly like
Yes.
excess.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, one sec. He's kind of got a train of thought I'm gonna grab on to. He's like bringing up past life stuff and just showing me like how he really brought in this simplistic worker mentality, and like the one that's coming through feels more Native American. I don't have exacts. Um, and he's showing me the heart to heart connection and like having language from heart to heart connection and that being a really big element of it. And then all the extra, like his word frilly is uh wasn't important, like wasn't valued, where it was just fully being seen in that heart space, that soul space internally was like the parameter of relationship and life quality and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there was some really nice energy coming through from that past life, though. Like, I won't go down a whole dive there, but that felt like an important one for him. Anything else, Rooster, you want to add around soul contract? He's kind of putting a pin in that one. He's like, in a nutshell, just like these learning lessons together is what he's saying. Just learning these lessons together. He's saying, I was a catalyst for her self-growth, and she butted up against mine. So it's this like mutually, symbiotic learning exchange. Okay, buddy. Um, so I know you haven't been on the other side for too long. Do you feel like you have your new kind of job or soul mission now that you've crossed over? Does it feel like it's shifted from kind of your Earth mission? He's saying yes, that usually the Earth missions are a bit more a little piece of the pie. They're like more specific, more like a micro, um, what am I trying to say? The thing that you look through that makes it bigger.
Oh, a microscope?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
It's like the earth lives are this like microscopic view of these little things. So he's like, now that I'm back at the big picture, can you give me any insight of what's going on? Do you have full direction of what you're doing on the other side now? Goes, I'm playing first for a little bit. I see him running like in a herd with these horses and talking about feeling really free and feeling really connected to his word, like the genuine horse energy, the like un unadapted or altered horse energy, just really, really pure freedom. And he's like enjoying that. Have you been a horse quite a few lives? Yeah, feels like he's done quite a few horse lives. Have you been humans or other beings? He goes, I've dabbled. I've dabbled. But he likes the horse energy. He's inclined to come in as a horse when he comes in. So do you have a certain like purpose or mission that you're working on right now? Let me sit with it for a minute. I'm trying to get understanding. It's like I see him up and then I see these little like rays almost coming down into earth. So I'm trying to understand what some more context around that. Oh, he says he's lighting, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. He says he's lighting up people's hearts with these little beams. He's like how me and you kind of do this work and we help open people's minds and light people up and show them that there's more out there. He's up here like beaming people into their hearts
Oh
and
my
just
gosh. I
showing,
have to tell you something.
okay.
The minute you said the rays are coming down to Earth, I knew exactly what he was talking about. So right before he died, he showed me like a almost like a golden heart necklace made out of metal with some really lovely tooling on it. And he was like, "This is your golden sacred heart. Here's the key." And he was like, "This is a master key to start awakening people's golden hearts." And he was like, "I'm going to be doing that too someday, like in the other side." And the minute you said that, and I was like, he's already going there. He's already doing it. So, oh my God, that's
Even my
amazing.
forehead has goosebumps.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so amazing. And the gold color is very specific. And the heart, the gold sacred heart. That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
That's awesome. So this is something you guys are working on together because part of it felt like I see what you're doing in your work and like him assisting as you're trying to open people's hearts up and or like another word I use for it is finding your most authentic self is the same thing. Finding the most you that's in there is the same as like being open or whatever, all the stuff we're doing. Um, so yeah, it's like he's helping people find their most authentic heart and lighting that up. I love that.
Oh,
It's
that
so
just made my
beautiful.
whole day.
Yay.
That's really cool.
Oh, Rooster Man. Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes, again, when talking to animals on the other side, you get an abstract visual. And so I try and always share, like, hey, this is what I'm looking at. Give me a minute to try and understand what I'm looking at or what they're sending me. Um, yeah, that's beautiful, though, that you like already had some knowingness around that.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. I'm reading our notes real quick. Rooster, was there anything else you wanted to add to that? We got excited and kind of went off. Nope. So she knows, she can feel it. Oh, he is saying too, though, that like making sure, obviously, it's about people you're helping and he's helping other people, but also that he can do work on you too. So making sure that you're like being open to like you being included in that love and support. He's looping back to, I felt him the whole conversation we were talking earlier. He's looping back to the cat light language story that I told. And he was kind of like, you just wait, if you think that's something, you just wait and see like what I can do from this side, like activation wise. So yeah, him just kind of like suggesting for you to just tune in and be like, hey, I'm open to whatever you can activate in me right now, and just kind of have that a regular enough practice. He's showing me this kind of web, him up there, and then I'm getting this web, and then another being, kind of keeps going off. And he's saying, quote, I'm at the front line. So I see him kind of really close to being on the earth side. And then he's pulling from all these other beings up there that have been up there longer, have different specialties, his word. Um, and they're all kind of like funneling to him. And so then he's like beaming that to everybody. That's really cool.
That's amazing. That was like full body and scalp goosebumps on that one.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Cool.
like I've got a lot backing me here. Like there's a lot of oomph.
Cool.
Very cool. Thank you for that, Rooster. He's just sharing that like we'll be amazed at the shifts that we're going to start to see in people. And I've seen it with my clients and people in my sphere. Like, yeah, a lot of them are kind of my same woo-woo-y, but a lot of my clients aren't really. And I'll have somebody come in and be like, so my tree talked to me, so I guess I'm open to this now. I'm like, great,
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, glad to have you. So it's feeling like that energy too, just like it's gonna like be awesome to see this just people lighting up. Anything else to add to that? He's like, he keeps saying no, but then adding more. But this time he's like, I'm curious what your other questions are.
Oh. It's because he knows I have one mulling around in my head.
Oh, what's yours?
I was just wondering if he has some like words of wisdom or guidance for the community that's listening.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, bud, we're just wondering if you have like a specific message or guidance or words of wisdom for all of our people here listening. He's saying it's um less is more almost, like the word simplicity is what came through. And if you can consciously think about turning off as many layers that are going on around you, like the TV on or the phone on or whatever, just all these layers is his word. And if you can tune them out, turn them off, find quiet space, that's really all that this is anything you would ever want to find is in the quiet space and it's inside of you. He's showing me the way he's showing me if I'm to go inward to myself, it's like instead of my body, it's just black space with stars and galaxies. It's like the whole sky is inside my body. Again, he is lighting up the heart space specifically, like having an awareness there. And right there, he's sending me specifically this kind of like swirling, I don't know my space terms, nebula or swirling galaxy, or
I think a nebula sounds good.
does that work?
That
Okay,
sounds
we'll go with
right.
that
Yeah,
one.
it's kind of a swirl.
Is it? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, like that big swirling space. And also with it, the visual of that is to feel expansive because he's talking about how in this physical form, in this for us earthly bodies, it can feel contained and it can feel like lots of different containers kind of making us individual and separate. And when you reconnect with your expansive, like space self, then it takes away a bit of the word is individuality, but it's not in the sense of like losing your personality or losing self. He's saying we're gaining oneness, which I know that oneness is a word that we all hear a lot. Can you give me some more context around that? Or he's just sending the idea of like humans, we like to take 10 steps to make it complicated when really it's like you could just take one step backwards.
That sounds about right.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, right. Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. Is there anything around that that I missed or that you wanted to add? Oh, he's saying when you're from the perspective that he's at, he's saying every single one of you is a beautiful soul and I can see it. Because I can see that seed and spark in every single one of you, and it's beautiful. Ooh, that gave me a lot of emotion with that
I
one.
know. I felt that one deep in my heart. That was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Anything else, bud? He's checking in, kind of like, did I do good, Mom?
Yes, you
You
did. Good
did.
job,
You did
buddy.
so good, bud. You did so good. Do you have any other questions? I'm trying to be conscious of time. I don't know if you try and keep it at an hour window or.
No, yeah, I think we're good. I feel like he shared what he needed to share today for the group, for me, for everybody. So he feels really good. It's nice to actually welcome him into my space because I've been pushing him out for so long. Ah, dang. I just love him so much, even though, as we've mentioned, it's complicated.
Yeah, as it should be, it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I feel like a big lesson with animal communications I've learned is like, we're not trying to make them behave how we want them to be this perfect dog or whatever. It's like seeing who they are and what they're bringing to the table and just like understanding it and
Yeah.
working with it.
Yes, like this is who you are. I honor you as you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that lesson. That's a good one. That's a good reminder for everybody with animals that might have hard relationships with or get frustrated. It's like, how can we honor them for them and honor you for you and just roll with the relationship with ease and
Yeah.
grace?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Emily. That was wonderful.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
amazing. I can tell you really felt into him and brought him forward. So well done. So appreciated. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, it was so nice to connect with him and you. And honestly, every single like session I do afterwards, I'm always like, I get such a gift too, like again, all those visuals he sent, like I'm learning and yeah, it's always an honor to get to connect with people and their animals.
Yeah, I agree. And for anybody out there that's interested in having a session with Emily, I will link all of her contact information in the show notes or wherever you're finding this, this session. Like the information will be there for you. Clearly, she's very gifted and she's really wonderful at her work. She's a kindred soul. So if you resonate with me, you absolutely will resonate with her. So I hope you find her and connect. And you are on Instagram too, right? It just
Yeah.
as your name.
It's just my name. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Check the spelling. That last name's a doozy.
Emily Gemignani with a silent G.
Yes.
No, yeah, I said that right. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
Lordy.
you got it. You nailed it.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank
yes,
you.
everybody go find her, follow her, and reach out if you are interested in a session. And yeah, I'll see you next time.